Welcome, everybody, to Inside the Huddle on the Muskie Sports Network. I'm Tom Caudell, and joining me today is Muskingum head baseball coach Gregg Thompson. Coach, welcome to Inside the Huddle.
Thanks, Tom. Awesome that you give us a platform to reach out to our community.
It's been great having all the coaches on talking about their programs. And for you, Coach, I want to first take a step back to winter ball. What you were seeing with the team during winter ball, and ultimately what you saw during the early part of the season in Florida that was getting you excited for the year.
Well, the biggest thing for us is we had a young group coming in. We knew that. We had our couple seniors at the top that gave us some leadership. But last year we started all those young guys. We brought them all back. We added a group of young guys in with us, and the guys, they gelled. They worked hard. We had an incredible chemistry that I was really looking forward to watching those guys grow. And the biggest thing for us, as we went through the wintertime and saw the growth, and we got to Florida and got a chance to open up, I thought we made some big strides. We lost Sammy Pinkert there early on, and Sammy was hitting in the 2-hole for us, was putting together a good year. Made us even younger because we had to move another freshman into the mix. But the biggest thing for me is that I wanted to see was a year of growth, and it got taken away from us. And even though we had a year in the weight room and all that, there's nothing like seeing the live arms, the live at bats, and things like that. So we're gonna have to grow as we get ready to come back in the fall. We're gonna have to take some strides because we're still gonna be young.
Coach, you get back from Florida, and your first home game, the season opener here at Muskingum, is against Denison. Such a unique and special story for you and your family. Denison features, your oldest son, Gavin, as a freshman over there for the Big Red. We talked about it earlier, you and I, but tell me that day, the emotions going through had to be off the charts.
It was, I actually probably still get goosebumps as I'm sitting here talking to you about it. It was a surreal day, and I don't know I keep saying the exact same quote, but, the day as you and I talked, we had some misting. It wasn't supposed to rain. We had some misting. We came up, the field was wet. We're trying to figure out, and Coach Deegan and I talked numerous times, and finally about noon, I said, "Come on over. Let's do this. Let's deal with it." And I was okay. I'd given thought to it, but then all of a sudden he walked through the gate in a Denison uniform, and it was tough. It was one of those things. As we set out, he set out in the recruiting process was to pave his own way, and that wasn't coming here and playing for Dad. And I never thought that I'd have to experience that, but when they handed me the lineup and I saw his name in the lineup, that was a special day.
I tell you, it was a special day up there. A lot of community people coming to that game because of Gavin being a big part of the East Muskingum School District. As a father, getting a chance to see your son get his first collegiate hit, first collegiate RBI, that had to be such a heartwarming moment for you.
Well, it was, yes. And the thing I've said, I coach the Muskies. I love the Muskies. The Muskies compete, and that's what I know. And I think his second at bat, he had runners in second and third. We had 2 outs, and we threw him a slider, and he swung and popped it up. And Dom Winters, my assistant coach, was standing right next to me, and I said, "Darn!" The first thing out of my mouth was "darn." And he's like, and then I was like, "All right, good job." And he said, "Did you hear yourself?" I said, "Yes, I heard myself." And it was, it's just different when you root for him, and I still root for him. But he got to a fastball late in the game and put a good swing on it, and it was a whole ton of emotion at that point. Denison kind of put it to us a little bit, but it was neat to see. And going back to the community thing, it's one of the things that makes Muskingum special. Is our community, and that's what we talk. I'm sure we're going to talk as we go through this. But, our community rallies around people, And that's a thing that we sell to our recruits. Even though it was my son, you saw the amount of people that came out and watched the game and the emotions of it. It was an awesome experience.
And then, we talk about the emotions of this. So you have the emotional aspect of that, great to see your son, the family, community, everything growing up as a father. But then not too long after, the other type of emotion where you hear that spring sports are being canceled, where you have to sit there with your team and tell them that everything that they've worked on throughout the year wasn't going to be there. I mean, how hard was that for you as a coach?
Arguably one of the hardest things I've had to do. We were, Jake, my assistant, and I were sitting in the red seats here up at the field, and we knew the news. Steve had called us down, giving us the talk. But by the time we had made it back up to the field, the OAC had tweeted it out. So we were gathered getting ready for practice. One of the older guys walked by and said, "Is it true?" And I said, "Hey, we'll meet here in a second. We'll discuss it." And we gathered around the dugout, and I know they think they're boys, and some of the young kids are still boys, but those older guys are men, 21, 22 years old, who have worked their whole lives to get to their senior year to perform. I'm sure each one of them in their mind had an idea how their senior year was going to go. And then all of a sudden have someone say, "Hey, it's going to be taken away from you. We aren't going to play." And tears were flowing. It was a tough day, and it was hard. But the thing for me, Tom, was they were going to hear all the negative. Was for me to stay positive. I mean, there was nothing. It was out of our hands. There was no sense in getting mad at anyone over the decision. But one of the things that was really special to me was the two administrations, Denison and Muskingum, giving us an opportunity to come back on that Saturday for some closure. And I don't know if people have seen the pictures, and if they haven't seen the pictures, you got to go try to find the pictures of what that game was like. I mean, we had snow coming down sideways and everything else like that. But that was the least of our worries, and it was closure for us, a chance to move on. And a lot of teams didn't. A lot of teams were just told, "Hey, you're done. Mm-hmm. Pack your stuff up and head home." And we at least had some closure. We had a chance to do senior day at Denison's Field and recognize our four seniors. They had a chance to recognize 6 or 7, and they had it, and we all did it together. It was good, but just the trying to get over the anger of it, of the situation with the guys. They were angry. And there's nothing we could do. It was for the best interest, and it was certainly something that I'll never forget. That day where I was sitting when I got the text from Steve, and then to come, because I knew what it was about when he said, "Hey, I need to see you guys," and then to come up and especially you watch the four seniors, Holden Martin, Josh Bigrig, Mark Rest, and Bryce Husted, and just the tears start flowing. And the other thing, Tom, that goes missed in all this, and I've talked to some other coaches, we had some young guys in our program that might have been the last time they played, they ever played the game, because maybe they didn't like where they stood, and maybe financially they can't do it, but there's some guys that didn't have some closure in their careers either. So we're going to have to move forward on it.
You talk about some closure in careers, and it was incredible what Denison was able to do with Muskingum to give the seniors one last chance to put that closure on. Is there opportunity out there? You talk about closure for some of the spring sport high school student athletes now who also had their season taken away, for the recruiting to find some new people to get them interested?
Well, that's the hardest thing, and it's tough to explain because there aren't any opportunities right now. I know the governor's given some opportunity maybe to open back up here on the 26th, but a lot of those opportunities, you need a facility to be able to do it. You need to be able to social distance in a way to play a game that's not really social distanceable, and it is it is tough, and you know we're trying to give guys an opportunity to keep their careers going. We've reached out. We're still actively recruiting, as I know other people are, but there's a lot of impact in the spring sports. I mean, you think, and it's not my sport, but you think about the high school track athlete who maybe as a junior had taken 2 or 3 seconds off of a time, and you know another second or two gives them an athletic scholarship that they aren't have the opportunity to do it. Or someone, you know, you go back to the winter sports, the people who are ready to compete for a state basketball championship taken away from. Those are memories, and those are things that you keep for the rest of your life that were taken away. And taken away is a bad, not a great term, because you know it had to be done at that time. But yeah, the high school baseball and softball players, that recruiting process a little different in softball because it's a little bit quicker than baseball in the recruiting process. But still, I mean, there's a ton of kids out there that's still looking for places. And at the other end, as you see some of the news, I mean, Furman yesterday announced they're dropping baseball and lacrosse. You know, there's Bowling Green dropped baseball, and Urbana closed. You know, so it's an interesting landscape out there in terms of how these high school kids even get opportunities to be recruited.
It is. You know, Coach, we've talked about the emotion of the spring. Let's go back to the fall and some exciting news and some stuff that I'm sure you're selling to recruits as you talk to them. The HWC, the Health and Wellness Complex. You know, a $30 million state-of-the-art academic athletic facility right in the heart of campus. The process moving forward in that building still slated for 2022. How exciting is that for you and your program to be able to talk about that?
It's awesome. And you know, I think you mentioned that the biggest news and all that is we're moving forward with it. And that's one thing our president, anyone who gets an opportunity to know her and the importance that athletics plays in a person's development, and to be able to tell recruits, hey, we're still moving forward. You know, I just mentioned one place that is closing down, some other places are dropping sports, and we're moving forward. And you know, anytime you can say you have an indoor facility that's lined with baseball and softball, and we have an opportunity to walk into a facility and practice on something that right now, you know, we haven't had the opportunity in the gyms we have to set up a full infield. We can set up a full infield. We can hit while we take ground balls. We can get some conditioning done while people are hitting and taking ground balls. It's just the indoor performance center and the evaluation center, everything that's in the building has been well thought out of. It's huge for us, and it's something that puts us back on the level with some other people. And the other thing you mentioned that it's huge. It's right in the center of campus. It is a centerpiece. When you come around, like everyone right now, when you say, hey, how do you get somewhere, you references off the football field. Where are you at in the football? So everyone goes by there, and you say, and they're going to see it. So it's awesome. I'm excited about it. And just as you can hear my voice, more excited. We're still telling, hey, we're going forward. We're moving forward. This place is
it's awesome because, I mean, for people who have been away from campus for a while, you can see work is already starting up there with some removal, some excavation. It's only going to continue throughout the summer. And when students return in the fall, you are going to see something happening that's going to make Muskingum a very special place, not just here, but in the region, and make us a state-of-the-art facility. Coach, I want to thank you for taking time today to talk a little Muskie baseball with us and share your emotional side of some things that we talked about. And I look forward to seeing the guys out there in the field in the fall and getting back together to talk some more Muskie baseball.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate all you do for us.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Stay strong and go Muskies.
Okay, thank you.